So I'm gonna try having a microphone on my hat. Uh, we'll see if that reduces the clickiness. So the clickiness from this stupid thing, I think it's from there's like a little spring thing where it clips, and I think the clickiness is from the spring. So let's see if it's fixed. Let's see if this makes the clickiness go away if I wear a hat with a boom mic. I wonder if the mic should be around the front. I don't know. All right, so what am I playing? Let's start with the Spooktober games. First off, I finished Alan Wake Remastered. So the remaster is really good. I'm very impressed with it. It was a lot of fun. I complained a little bit about the game having some, 13-year-old jank. Jank that feels right at home on the 360 or the PlayStation 3, which of course is the era in which Alan Wake originally came out. So that jank was to be expected, but it really wasn't that bad. And as far as like janky games are concerned, I can think of a lot others far more egregious in terms of jank than Alan Wake was. But it was fun. It was a blast, and I'm really excited to see what happens with Alan Wake 2. What's funny, as I was playing this, it makes me want to go back and replay Control. I really loved Control. Control, of course, is another game by Remedy Software. It's their most recent one before Alan Wake Remastered. It's their most recent, full-fledged standalone game that isn't a remaster. And Control and Alan Wake take place in the same universe. It's like a shared universe with shared stories. And it's my understanding that they've kind of retconned Alan Wake as the events that took place in Alan Wake as being like an altered world event, which is the stuff that Control is very concerned with. And I remember it, finding some documentation in Control that talked about the Bright Falls incident and Alan Wake, but a lot of that stuff isn't top of mind, and I don't exactly remember all of the details. So playing Alan Wake Remastered kind of made me want to go back and play Control. I never actually played the most recent Control DLC, the one that I guess explicitly ties it to Alan Wake. Maybe I should go and do that. I might pick up that DLC and play that this Spooktober. I don't know. We'll see. But regardless, Alan Wake Remastered was a great game. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I got a chance to replay it with improved fidelity. Alan Wake Remastered includes the DLC for the game that I never played back in the day. I played briefly one of the DLCs, but I will admit I kind of wanted to move on to the next game, so I didn't spend a lot of time with it. Who knows, I might come back to it during Spooktober, especially if I do pick up Alan Wake 2, and I want to get like the full experience of Alan Wake 1 before going into Alan Wake 2. I might pick back up Alan Wake Remastered and finish through the DLC. But for the base game, I finished it. It was a lot of fun. I recommend it. If you played the game before, and you liked it, picking up the remastered is kind of a no-brainer. And if you haven't played the game before, picking up the remaster is undeniably the right place to start if you wanted to check this series out. Anyway, Alan Wake Remastered. Finished it. A lot of fun. Close that, because I'm standing underneath the air, and it's blowing cold on me. And I'm old. It's cold. So, I'll shut that and continue. All right, so the next Spooktober game that I'm playing is Nightbook. This is a game for the PlayStation 4. I'm playing it on the PlayStation 5. This is a physical edition, limited physical edition from Limited Run Games. It is a full-motion video game from Wales Interactive, and it's a horror game, so naturally I would be playing it in Spooktober. So what is the game? Well, like I said, it's a full-motion video game. The basic premise is that you play this woman who is an interpreter, and she works for this interpreting service that interprets phone calls for people. She speaks French and English, and she also speaks this, I believe it's a fictitious language. I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% certain it's a fictitious language, but I haven't bothered to look it up, so maybe I'm wrong. But she speaks this fictitious language of Kanar, which is used by a tribe of people that live on this semi-deserted island. Kind of a tropical paradise. And her husband is a developer for a resort that is looking to build a new resort on this island. But the locals have these beliefs of these evil spirits that are kind of tied to this tree of life that's out there. And they are warning of a curse if they continue to build this resort. So like I said, you're playing this woman whose husband is going to be building a resort on a deserted island. Not a deserted island. And I mean, obviously it's not deserted. There's people there. But it's a tropical island that the locals claim will have a curse for people who are putting in this resort. In addition to this, she has her father who is sick, having some issues, who is living with her and her husband, and is speaking about this curse and about evil spirits that are going to try to disrupt this little family. And depending upon the choices you make, you wind up interpreting a deal between people who are in possession of a book, a sacred text from the people of the island. And over the course of the game, again, depending upon the decisions you make, a passage from the text is read, which invites an evil spirit into this woman's father, who then, tries to attack her. And the game is, like I said, it's a full motion video game, but the interface that you interact with the game it's like you're viewing this woman's desktop, her computer desktop, and she has security cameras around her home. You're able to see all of the different things that are happening around the house while all this insanity is going on. Anyway, the game is only about an hour long. It's a fairly short game, but it has 12 endings, and it's kind of intended for you to replay it multiple times. But yeah, so I played it about 4 times this weekend, got about 4 of the different endings. I intend to continue this week and play through it some more. I'm going to try to get all the endings. I'm also going to try to get all the trophies, because let's face it, it's probably pretty easy to get all the trophies in this game. But yeah, Nightbook. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the scariest thing. In fact, I would say it's not scary at all. But, it is vaguely horror, so I am playing it. I will also say, as far as Whales interactive games are concerned, I would say that this is probably a fair to midland one. It's not spectacular, but it's certainly better than a lot of the full motion video games we had in the 90s. So it's a good game. I kind of give it a kind of a weak recommendation. If you're really jonesing for a full motion video horror game, you could do a lot worse. But I'd probably buy it on a sale. Unless you, of course, had to get the physical like I did. But yeah, Nightbook. It's good. It's not terrible. But, it's also not spectacular. But I'm playing it. I'll probably finish it this week. Maybe I'll talk about it next week. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, Nightbook. All right, what else am I playing for Spooktober? Well, I'm still playing Little Nightmares. I don't really have too much to say about Little Nightmares. I haven't put a ton of time into it this last week. I will say, though, that the issues I had that prevented me from beating this before are still very much there. I really do find a lot of the platforming a little bit unforgiving due to the nature of the camera, the fixed camera in the game that makes it so you can't really get a good view of places and platforms that you need to jump to. The end result is there's a lot of cheap deaths, I feel, but it's also a game that almost immediately puts you back at a fairly recent checkpoint, so failure isn't that big of a deterrent. But, I'm still playing it. I intend to keep playing it. I've been playing it mostly on my Steam Deck lately, so I might not have any new footage. The footage that you see here might be previous footage that I captured on the PC. But yeah, Little Nightmares. Good game. All right, so those are the Spooktober games. What non-Spooktober games am I playing? Well, there's really only one, and that is Vampire Survivors. Again, I am playing it on my Nintendo Switch. I already played it on PC multiple times. I already played it on my Xbox multiple times, and I picked it up recently on my Switch, and I've been playing it again on my Switch. And holy cow, I freaking love this game. I know I've said it before, I'm a giant fan of Vampire Survivors, but it just is such a great game, such a great arcadey kind of one more run kind of game. And the thing is that I really love, this is actually something that I kind of forgot, because when I first got into Vampire Survivors, I was actually fairly late to the game with Vampire Survivors. A lot of people have been talking about it, a lot of people were hyping it up, and I kept intending to try it out, but I didn't. But when I finally did get around to playing it, I literally bought it the weekend that my Steam Deck got here. And my first experience with Vampire Survivors was on my Steam Deck. Now, of course, since then I've gone and played it on PC, and I've played it on my Xbox, and I've put a lot of hours into it. But the one thing that I kind of forgot from those early days playing it on the Steam Deck was how well this game lends itself to the handheld experience. The runs are about 30 minutes long, depending upon which level and the settings you have, but they're about 30 minutes long. And if you're playing on something like a Steam Deck or the Switch, you don't have to complete that 30 minutes all at once. You can play the game a little bit, and then if you need to go, just sleep your platform and then leave and then come back, and you can just continue your game as if you'd never left. And I kind of had forgotten that was something that lent itself to this game really well until I started playing it again on my Switch. But no, yeah, it's a great game for on the go gameplay, and it's a great game for. And I've said this before. It's a great game if you just want to like crank your music really loud. Maybe be under the influence of some sort of substance that isn't going to be very conducive to playing complicated games or games that you have to really strategize, 10 steps ahead. It's just great arcadey action, and it's fun. I don't really know what else to say. If you haven't heard about Vampire Survivors by now, and you have any of the platforms that it's on, you really do owe it to yourself to go check it out. It is one of the best games to come out in recent years. And yeah, I'm playing it on the Switch. Good fun. I will say one last thing. In the early videos for the What Are You Playing videos, my initial Vampire Survivors footage that I uploaded was kind of garbage. And I had to adjust and tweak my OBS settings, my capture settings, to get better, less artifacty footage from Vampire Survivors. Because the nature of the game, it gets very busy, the screen gets filled with all sorts of effects, and if you don't have the right settings, those effects wind up generating a tremendous amount of noise and artifacting in the videos. And so it was kind of one of those early things for me where I had to learn how to properly capture footage to not generate artifacts for something like Vampire Survivors. Anyway, why am I mentioning that? Well, I'm mentioning that because I can't tweak those settings when I capture them from my Nintendo Switch, because obviously I'm just using my Nintendo Switch's native capture feature. And the end result is that these videos look terrible. Like, really, they don't have any of the optimized settings that you need to have in order to get a good quality video for Vampire Survivors. So if there's Vampire Survivors video that's playing right now as I'm talking, which I'm sure there probably is, it probably doesn't look great because I recorded it on the Switch. I have no idea if it looks really bad, I might intermingle it with captures from PC that look better. I don't know, but I will say that if the video doesn't look terrible, it's probably PC footage and not actually the footage from the Nintendo Switch. And I just, couldn't handle all the pixelization and all the artifacting that was happening. But I don't know. Well, that's future Sam's problem. That's editor Sam's problem. He'll figure that out, when I edit this video in a few days. Anyway, Vampire Survivors on the Switch. Great game. I think that's it. I don't have anything else. I have a bunch of boxes that came earlier. I need to do a what's in Criswell's mailbag video for this stack of boxes. And I'm not looking forward to it. It's too many boxes. I don't know what the deal is. Why is it that everybody decides to ship stuff at the same time? It's weird. Anyway, that's it. See ya.